one which looks at the traditional measure of poverty, and the other one looking at using multidimensional multidimensional measures in measuring poverty. So, first of all, let me introduce Mrs. Suranjana Vidyaratne. She is the Director General of Department of Census and Statistics. She's been with the Department of Census and Statistics for the past 35 years. She has first class honors from the University of Vidyaratne and had done her postgraduate studies in sampling and survey methodology and applied statistics both in Sri Lanka as well as in the US. She is a resource person for the University of Sri Lanka and she teaches sampling methodology. She also teaches at the Institute of Development Administration. She is also an advisor. She also advises government agencies, non-governmental organizations, as well as multilateral organizations on sampling design and survey methodology. So, if we call upon Mrs. Suranjana Vidyaratne to speak on the issues of DCS's experience in using household income and expenditure survey to measure poverty, its strengths, challenges that they are facing, as well as whether they are going to changes that in terms of measurement of poverty.
Thank you very much. So, as mentioned, the topic I'm going to discuss is official poverty line and measuring poverty in Sri Lanka by the Department of Census and Statistics, how we measure poverty line and the poverty ratios. So, we will first see why we measure poverty as a country. In order to formulate policies and monitor those to improve the level of the living of the society is a key responsibility for any country. As we all know, there are a number of indicators available to measure well-being of the population. Poverty is considered as a measure of disadvantage in living standards or lack of basic needs. Therefore, poverty measure based on nationally acceptable norms and methodologies is needed because people can measure poverty in different ways, but there should be official poverty line and official poverty index for any country. So, having identified the importance of this indicator, the Department of Census and Statistics has computed official poverty line since 2002. The poverty measures, we all know the very frequently used measure, the head count ratio. It was estimated to be 22.7, 15.2 and 8.9, computed based on household income and expenditure survey conducted in the years 2002, 6, 7 and 2009, 10 respectively. These are the head count ratios for 3 different survey periods. Okay, so we will see how these measures were done or how it is computed. As we all know, 2 major approaches are generally used to define poverty. First is the relative poverty, then the absolute poverty. Term relative means it makes comparison with another segment of the population in any country. In other words, relative poverty could be defined in terms of the position of an individual or a household in relation to the other individuals or households in the society where he or she lives. So, absolute poverty is essential for a country to see the effectiveness of the anti-poverty policies and programs over time. How it works, whether it works well, whether poor are becoming poorer or whether they come out of poverty and so on and so forth. So as a developing country, our concern is to give the minimum required basic needs to all the families or individuals in the country. So Rovingtree and 1901 was the first to measure the cost of maintaining a minimum standard of living. He first estimated the minimum cost for food which satisfy the average nutritional needs of a family or individual and added certain minimum amount to meet other basic needs such as rent, clothing, housing, fuel, etc. So there are, in computing absolute poverty also, there are two main methods used if identifying or defining poverty lines. As we know, food energy intake method, that is FEI method, and cost of basic needs method, which is CEPA method. Food energy intake method, FEI, is easy and is based on the level of consumption expenditure or income, which enables households to obtain just enough food to meet its energy requirement. Consumption here will include some components of other needs other than food, such as clothing, shelter, etc. So it's simply like this. I will later tell you how these 20-30 calories come. So this is the y-axis is 20 calories and x-axis is either income or expenditure. So this is the income or expenditure needed to get 20-30 calories. So the main concern about FEI method is the relationship between FEI and income or expenditure will shift according to the differences in the taste, prices and also availability of goods in the area. Other method, which is the CBN method, specifies a consumption bundle including both food and non-food, which is just adequate and the cost of that bundle would be estimated. This can be adjusted for price differences in various subpopulations such as urban, rural, provinces or districts, etc. So CBN method is used to establish the official poverty line by DCS, Department of Census and Statistics. So these are the main steps. I try to simplify this to the extent possible. Step 1, set the minimum required calories per person per day at national level, which is known as the calorie norm. Then the step 2, select a subgroup of population who are around the hypothetical assumed poverty line. Here the assumption is that this group of households in the 2nd to 4th per capita total expenditure deciles in nominal value terms. Second, I think most of you know that if we divide the total population of household into 10 groups and arrange them from poor to richest, so the 2nd to 4th deciles were assumed to be in this group. Then calculate the spatial price indices for districts using items used by the subgroup of population selected in step 2. So we have taken this group who are in the 2nd to 4th decile and then using that information from HIS survey, we calculated the spatial price indices for each and every district. Then the next step was to convert all the nominal expenditure values into real values by using spatial price indices calculated in step 3. So we converted the nominal values to real values using these indices. Then recalculate the per capita real expenditure deciles and select households in 2 to 4 per capita real expenditure deciles. Then calculate calorie. After that, now we got the real 2nd to 4th per capita real expenditure, the population or the households in those 2 to 4 real expenditure deciles, and then using that subpopulation we do further step 6 and onwards, calculate calorie cost using the food basket of persons selected in previous steps. Then calculate food poverty line using calorie cost and calorie norm. Calculate non-food, so that is food poverty line. I will explain it taking an example. Then after calculating the food poverty line, calculate non-food poverty line using the food poverty line. Then official poverty line is this step 7 plus 8 2. Right. So how do we calculate the calorie norm? Nutrition requirement vary from person to person depending on the age, sex, and also the activity status of the person. These vary from country to country depending on factors such as race, climate condition, etc. These norms for Sri Lanka are available for different groups of population at the MRI, Medical Research Institute of Sri Lanka. So these are the daily recommended nutrients given by MRI for different age groups and sex. So by using that table, we have calculated the average calorie requirement or calorie norm for different survey years. LFSC's Labour Force and Socio-Economic Survey, which was actually till 1980, 81 and 85, 86, it was named that way, Labour Force and Socio-Economic Survey, where income and expenditure and labour force, all information was collected in one survey. Similarly, 85, 86 also it is LFSC, Labour Force and Socio-Economic Survey. Then 1991 onwards, actually income and expenditure survey or HIVS, and in 94 we have conducted a demographic survey. So all these survey periods used and survey from the data and MRI table, we calculate the calorie norm for Sri Lanka. One figure to represent the population, entire population. This you can see. First one is 2022. 2018, 2043, 2030. So it does not vary much from survey to survey. Therefore, we have taken the calorie norm as 2030. So we have compared this with the calorie norms of other countries. So these are the figures used by other countries. And some countries, of course, use different figures for urban and rural, like Philippines and India and so on. But some countries use one national calorie norm, like Vietnam is 2,100 and so on and so forth. So food poverty line is measured in terms of amount of money spent monthly on food expenditure required per person per month to achieve basic nutritional requirement for good health, and it is calculated as follows. Food poverty line is equal to calorie cost into calorie norm, which is 2030, into time period, that is per month is 30 days. So from that 2 to 4 decile norm, calculated in step, can you remember step 4, 5 and 6? We calculate, so from that population we calculate the calorie cost, which is rupees this much into 20-30 calories into 30 days. So we will get one person need 900 rupees, 973 as at 2002 to get just minimum calories. So therefore, food poverty line for Sri Lanka for the year 2002 was estimated to be 973 per person per month. Then how did we calculate the non-food poverty line? So calculating the non-food poverty line, we used lower bound group and upper bound group. That is so the y-axis is the expenditure per capita, x-axis is the persons. So the blue line, food poverty line is the horizontal line 973, and total expenditure of the population is given in the blue line, and the orange line is the food expenditure, top line is the total expenditure. So food expenditure cuts the food poverty line at one point, and then their food non-food component they spend is denoted by A. So the people who get the food expenditure, actually the person whose food expenditure is equivalent to food poverty line and their non-food part is A, people whose total expenditure is equal to food poverty line and their non-food expenditure is denoted by B. So the non-food poverty line we took A plus B, that's the average of A plus B. That is how we calculated non-food poverty line. Is it clear? This is the upper line is total expenditure, the lower line is only food expenditure. So this A is actually the people who spend the amount they spend on non-food whose food expenditure is equal to food poverty line, that is 973 rupees. That is A. And then B is the non-food expenditure spent by people whose total expenditure is equivalent to food poverty line, that is 973 rupees. So we have taken the average of A and B to derive non-food poverty line. So we call it upper bound and lower bound, and the official poverty line is upper bound poverty line plus lower bound divided by 2. So how to, after getting that, how to adjust for price differences over time and across districts. The national poverty line is defined at the 2002 national prices. The line needs to be inflated with CCPI, the Lanka Consumer Price Index, to obtain the official poverty line at the current prices for other HIES survey years conducted by DCS. It is really known as adjusting the poverty line across time. So after 2002, in 2009-10 and 2006-7 and 2009-10, we adjusted the 973 rupees poverty line, which was computed as at 2002 using CCPI, and inflating that by CCPI, we got the poverty line for other survey years like 2006-7 and 2009-10. Then district poverty lines are compiled. This 973 was the national poverty line. So we need to calculate the poverty lines for different districts. So after adjusting for price differences across districts, we calculated the district poverty line, adjusting the poverty line across districts. So the popular measure is the head count ratio, which is the percentage of population below the poverty line, and it is widely used to measure poverty in Sri Lanka. The head count ratio is the number of poor people in the population divided by the total population group as percentage of total population. So these are the poverty head count ratios by sector and HIS survey period. From 1990 to 1991 to 2009-10, it was 26.1, then 28.8, 22.7, 15.2 and 8.9. And sector-wise also you can see the figures. Then district-wise also the figures are here, but then for district like Jaffna, Vavuniya, Metiklo, Ampara and Timko, for certain surveys we could not do the survey, 1991, 95, 96 and 2002. 6-7 also we did it in certain districts, but I should say actually we were not able to completely cover those some districts in 2006-7 also, and 2009-10 figures are also given here. So the Gini coefficient and quintile ratio is percentage of expenditure by poorest 20% to the total expenditure, which is the share of the expenditure, are the most popular inequality measures, indicators. The lower the Gini coefficient and quintile ratio, the inequality which is identified as a major reason behind the drop of poverty. We see how the Gini coefficient and quintile ratio, what has happened to that. Anyway, the Gini coefficient has decreased over 2006, 7 and 9, 10, but quintile ratio also decreased. So inequality decreased. Then you can see the quintile ratio also to some extent in certain areas decrease after that increase, and it doesn't give a proper picture. Then income, receivers income, I added certain information tables to give some information to you. This is based on 2009-10 HIS survey. These are the decile groups, and these are the cut-off income group, and medium income and mean income. So you can see the lowest, the first group is the lowest or the poorest group, and 10th is the richest group. Median income is 1,500 and mean is 1,174 for poorest group, and richest is 53,000 and 88,000. This is per month. Income receiver per month. Then the per capita income, which is the household income divided by the household size. Again the deciles and median and mean, and share of income also. And the household size is also given there. Then the expenditure. Household expenditure, urban, rural and estate. Again 2019. Then this gives the mean expenditure, non-food expenditure, non-food expenditure and household income in one table. Poorest to richest. And these are some indicators which I have got from the survey division of the DCS, which gives poor households and non-poor households some indicators how it varies from poor to non-poor. Poor group as one group and non-poor households as another group. So school attending children age 5 to 14. Poor, it is for poor household 97.4 and non-poor household also 98.3. A very small increase, and it's almost same. And then female headed household 97 and 77. Head of the household suffering from chronic illness or disability. I should say one point now, HIS survey till from 2006 onwards. From 2006 on, earlier it was income and expenditure only. From 2006 onwards, we added some housing module, education module, and health module. So therefore, we were able to analyze this poor and non-poor household using health characteristics as well as education and other basic needs like safe drinking water, travel. Now this number 5 is also very important, and the data file is available, and a lot of information are there, but I have taken one indicator to show you that households travel 100 meters or more to get drinking water for poor and non-poor. But if you can get this variable calculated for using different distances, and there is a table I think in the report to show if it is 100, less than 100, how many people, and 100 to 200 and like that. Even 500 meters the householders have to travel to get drinking water by district. So you have a lot of information which are poverty related and which can be analyzed. Then households own exclusive toilet. household use electricity for lighting, household using LP gas as main cooking oil, and living in own housing unit, and households living in a housing unit with 2 or more bedrooms. So you can derive your indicator in such a way, and you can, if you need 1 or more bedroom, then you can get that information also. If you need household living with only with 1 bedroom, that also can be computed. The way you want your analysis to be done, all this information is gathered in HIS survey and can be analyzed. So I have selected certain indicators, but there are a lot of education, health, basic need indicators which can be analyzed for poor and non-poor households separately. Thank you.
Vidyaratne. So it's good to know that HI is not only focused on financial or the expenditure side of it, but it's also looking at other indicators. So it's kind of hopefully moving in a direction where it could use multi-dimensional measures in understanding poverty in Sri Lanka.